The remedy. The remedy. What's underneath the situation you don't realize? So let's examine with a critical eye. Put on your glasses and let it magnify the truth that lies hidden under all those lies. Cause everybody has nobility, and if you look beyond what your eyes can see, you'll see they're just like you and me, and now we're giving you the remedy. Welcome to the Remedy Podcast. This podcast is a project of WEBB Squared, a North Carolina nonprofit that works to increase wealth for Black businesses through connection, network, and opportunity. Our host is Stephanie Terry, the Executive Director of WEBB Squared, and our co-hosts are Associate Director Rinnie and myself, Mashallah Salaam. I am the Media and Production Specialist. In this podcast, we hope to bring consciousness to the racial divide and speak on emerging new narratives about race. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you will enjoy the podcast.
I'm Rinnie Orr, and
I am Stephanie Terry, and
I am Mashallah Salaam.
And we are the Remedy Podcast.
Yay! Welcome to Podcast Whatever Day. So how was your weekend?
Well, maybe we should lift up that we had birthday celebrations.
Oh, that's right.
Mashallah, she's a quarter century old now.
Ooh.
Yeah, 25. I had a really great birthday. My friend, she went to the movies with me, and we had Indian food after that. And earlier that day, another friend took me to brunch, so that was really nice.
Nice.
What'd you see?
I saw Free Guy.
How was that?
It was interesting. I actually enjoyed it. My mom came with us to the movies, and it actually had a really cool message in it. Sometimes I realize movies have hidden messages about real life, and it was just one of those kind of movies that made you think while also entertaining you and
Nice.
having you laugh. So yeah, it was nice.
And Rinnie, you had an art show on your birthday.
I did. Over at Smelt Gallery here in Pittsburgh. I have, I think, 35 pieces of art, and people came out for that, and I sold a couple small pieces and had a really nice celebration, and it's a nice way of, becoming a year older.
It was a lot of fun. That was my first time taking a sip of blueberry wine.
Blueberry.
Yeah, it was blueberry
It's
wine.
strong blueberry wine.
Yeah, I don't.
Very, very flavorful.
I don't drink, but I was like, I said I had to see what this tastes like, so I took a teeny sip, and I was like,
That's really funny. Actually, at the Indian restaurant that we went to, the waiter asked us, he said, do y'all want anything to drink? And I asked for a mango lassi, and he was like, it's Saturday, and you're drinking a mango lassi? And he was like, oh, I'm going to make you a special cocktail. And I was like, well, he was like, it's on the house. I was like, okay, I don't drink, but I'll try it. And I took the first sip, and I thought to myself, wow, this is really strong. My friend actually tried some. She got a straw, and she was like, oh yeah, this is really strong.
Wow. So I worked in my garden this weekend. My garden. Let me rephrase that. I worked in the yard. It's not a garden yet. And I cleared out some bushes and trimmed hedges and pulled weeds and decided that I was gonna make a rock garden, because you can't kill rocks, right?
No, but you do have to pull weeds out of your rock garden.
Well, not if you put the weed stuff down. They got this weed cloth. So it looks a halfway done project, because I went to Lowe's and I got sand and some pretty rocks, and then pulled rocks from the yard and some edging. And anyway, and I got exhausted. I was exhausted the next day. But I love gardening. Gardening is very meditative for me. It completely clears my mind. I don't think about anything. Yeah, so it was a good weekend. It was a busy weekend. Also, we did some work, and there's so much work to do. Are you finding that in October it's just a lot of work? It's just busy.
Yeah, I can't keep up with the leaves starting to fall in my
Yeah.
yard. It's a mess.
I mean, even like work, like our work.
Well, our work right now is like busy because we have a launch in 2 weeks.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, our launch event, October 23rd.
Listen, I need y'all to go to websquared.org, buy some tickets, and come on out because we're going to celebrate like you can't even imagine. It's going to be awesome. I'm just getting so excited. Yeah. So, topic for today.
We're going to touch base a little bit on empowerment again and talk about what does it mean? How do we use and work the concept of empowerment in a divided world environment that we are living in these days? It is so divided.
Well, yeah, I think what we were saying is we wanted to talk about some current events, some things that are happening. And we recognize, first off, did you all remember when Facebook went down?
Yeah, it was like 2 days ago.
Right. Was it on your birthday, right?
It was on my birthday. I was like, oh, wow, Facebook is ruining my birthday because I can't get these birthday messages from all of my friends. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
That's how much these like social media, like how the power they have over our thinking.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. I just thought that it was my internet.
Now, did Instagram go down also?
Yes, because they're owned by Facebook.
So Facebook owns Instagram.
Yeah, they're all like one big business. And they also own the WhatsApp.
Yeah, I don't use that. What is that?
It's a social media / messaging service. It's another.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We used it on trips to Nicaragua.
Okay.
So that we could send pictures to each other and communicate about where we were all going to be when we, separated as a group.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about because Facebook is all in the news because it's completely unregulated, right? They're self-regulated. And I didn't know they own Instagram and WhatsApp. And so this is like a worldwide communication device that is owned by a private company. And what are the implications of that? Like some of the implications that's been in the news is that Facebook has been the number one container for spreading all types of, I'm not going to call it disinformation, I'm going to call it what it is, propaganda around our democracy and around this virus and for a bunch of stuff. And then, we're a small business incubator and, we're launching. And personally, I want to be like, I'm not using Facebook, but everybody's using Facebook.
And if you're going to be in business,
right,
small business, and you have to have get the word out about your products and your services, you almost have to be on social media.
Right.
There's no way you can't be on Instagram, pictures and memes of your work and influencing people to buy your product.
Right. So what do you think, Mashallah?
I like Instagram and Facebook. It keeps me connected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess as far as the misinformation that gets spread around, that can be very tricky because you don't really know what's real or not.
I know people that are dear to me that are in church. We call it the sick and shut in, right? That if it was not for Facebook, they wouldn't have any interaction because we're in a pandemic and, they've got to be mindful. I mean, it's just so much to consider. So,
yeah, it just is interesting because there was a world before Facebook. And you and I probably remember it better than probably Mashallah because she's a young one in our group. But there was a whole world before social media and we had to navigate it. And it's just crazy, like how much social media has taken over our lives. And we have to almost be on it all the time to know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And that's part of that propaganda, right? Of staying connected this is how you do it.
Well, yeah, that, and it's like, okay, on the one hand, yes, there was a whole world before social media, just like there was a whole world before the telephone, and a whole world before cars, you know what I mean, or computers. But then when those inventions came, it just like accelerated everything. Here's a question I have for the both of you. Does your family use Facebook or social media to like keep in touch about events more so than picking up the phone?
My dad uses the phone a lot. he doesn't get on Facebook that much, but
Mhm.
it seems like he just connects with his friends more through telephone conversations.
Mhm. What about you, Rinnie?
That's a good question. I don't know how my loved ones use social media. I think that people do use it for news sources, though, because it's there on our phone or our computer, and it's just easy to click through what somebody has posted, and as an article.
Mhm. It's just easier.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of that ease in our world. It's clickbait, but it sounds important, so it's like, I'm going to click on it.
Yeah.
Instead of doing a deep dive into like a topic or some kind of news story, and it's just easier. Oh, Billy, my friend Billy has posted this article about COVID. Let me click on that and see what, it says. So I think the real question that I think what we're struggling with today is just that within social media, there's a lot of disinformation that's being shared. But we work with entrepreneurs and we're working with people to build their businesses. And there's no way they can do it without social media in today's world, especially if they are new to business. And, just like as people who are working with entrepreneurs, how are we going to coach people? How are we going to talk with people about how they use social media in order to propel their business into success?
So yes, understanding that Facebook is a wonderful technology.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot of fun, right? And it's easy to use. But be mindful that it's a technology that we're using in a culture that has not traditionally taught critical thinking
Yeah.
in our school system, at least not until you get to college.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that perspective, we need to do our due diligence. And let's talk about critical thinking. And let's talk about how information is used in ways that manipulate people.
I know. I mean, one of the examples that we could lift up is you just mentioned schools.
Mm-hmm.
And schools have also been in the news a lot lately, and school boards in particular. I saw a news story this morning that many school boards are like reaching out to the federal government to protect them because they feel like, people are coming at them almost with terrorist tactics because of this disinformation that's out there and the propaganda around COVID and masks and, critical race theory, and school boards are under assault.
Did you see this TikTok challenge? Slap a teacher?
No.
What?
Yeah, slap a teacher.
And that
These challenges are getting crazier and crazier.
and TikTok is social media, the power of social media to create an environment where, people are going after teachers.
Yeah, Mashallah sees my face. Oh, could you imagine?
Wait, so people are really slapping?
I don't know if they're really doing it. I hope. I would imagine they're not doing it. But like even that, like who made that up? You're like, really? Like who made that up?
But I'm not surprised. I have seen reports from school boards across the country that people are going after members of the school board, and they're scared for their lives right now.
Yeah, we're gonna call it critical mass theory. Because it's really bizarre, it's absurd, but it's definitely intentional. The way I see what's happening, this is truly a campaign to continue the assault on not making this democracy inclusive for everybody. I call this the white supremacist last stance. This is the white man's last stance. And
we sure can hope it's the last stance.
It's their last stance. And, from the very foundings of this country, there has always been this intention to manipulate poor working people and divide poor working people by using race for the benefit of the rich owning class.
Mm-hmm.
And that goal has undergone many different strategies throughout the years, but the goal is remaining the same. And now that America in numbers is more diverse, and since the civil rights movement, and we really, in my opinion, this came particularly after we had a Black president for 2 terms. And it just aroused the fear, which is always there, to a point where it was like, we don't care now. We just have to do everything that we have to do to maintain control, because we've always been the minority, but we're even becoming more of a minority. And if that means that we have to make allies out of old enemies, like other countries, and if that means that we need to be more aggressive in our tactics, then that's what we have to do. But here's the thing. If you're really paying attention, you understand that this quote unquote campaign, that's what it is. It's a disinformation campaign. The battle is not for land. The battle is not for weapons. The battle is for your mind. That's the battlefield. Who can control what people are believing?
You said something interesting about minorities. So when you said minority, who are you referring to?
I'm referring to the rich owning class. There used to be the English and Dutch landowners back in the 1600s, and then they turned into the slave landowners, the aristocrat. Now we're talking about people that are profiting from all of us working people.
Well, Stephanie, if this is really a battlefield for the mind, and we're in the business of empowering people into growing their businesses and being successful, where do we take this conversation? Because, we talk about having conscious conversations. How do we take that and wrap it around empowerment, this concept of helping people become powerful mindsets to propel their business successfully?
Yeah, I think now more than ever, any persons that are starting a business, especially if you are a Black entrepreneur, you need to really inoculate your vision and learn or remember how to have so much confidence in what you're doing as we build businesses in this divided community. And it all depends on what you want to focus on. Here's the thing. There's the wonderful thing about the mind. You get to choose what you want to focus on. You actually get to decide. And it's just like the cake, if you're making a cake.
Which you made a cake for both Mashallah and I yesterday.
Now, in my cabinet, because we're both chefs, we have all different types of spices in our cabinet. We have thyme, we've got cardamom, we've got curry, we've got different types of peppers, we've got different types of salt. We even have truffle salt in there. We've got all kinds of spices. And as I was making carrot cake, right? And I pulled some ginger, some cinnamon, some nutmegs, and just a little pinch of cloves. I focused on looking for those things in my cabinet. Now, yes, there was a bunch of other spices that I could have focused on, but I just focused on the things that I needed to make my cake. And so what I'm saying is there's a whole lot of stuff going on in the world right now, like a bunch of things that are interesting, that can get you pulled in, that may even be good for you, may not be good for you, but concentrate on your recipe, what you're making, and the things that you need for that. And when we use our minds that way, that is being intentional and in power, right? Because instead of being distracted, because social media is very distracting, right? Or manipulated, while you're distracted. Instead of engaging in that, you can use social media to hone in on who you want to target, who you want to talk to, who you want to get your message out, and then just do it, regardless of all of the noise that's happening. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And you can be aware that there's disinformation and propaganda being used, but you can kind of cut through the static and the noise and just say, okay, I'm going to use social media to propel my business forward. I'm not
Right.
going to get sucked into this other stuff.
Right.
And it would actually make social media more a positive place to be than a negative place.
Yeah, social media, it can be very distracting and in some ways depressing. It's interesting how you can scroll down and keep scrolling, and then you'll see like an image of a cute puppy, and then the next image you could see that a whole bunch of people have died somewhere, and so you're just going through that roller coaster of emotions, which to me, I don't think that's necessarily healthy to have that constantly throughout the day. So it is important to stay focused on why you're there, what you need to do, and your business if you're running a business.
I agree, Mashallah. I think the biggest issue that social media can cause is how you're using your time. I know for me, right, it's addictive to just go on it and see posts, right? I don't know how many times, especially ads, like shoes and bags are my weakness. Y'all should know that. I love shoes and bag ads, right? I can be, on there, trying to figure out marketing, and then a shoe and a bag ad, and then all of a sudden I'm just like,
Well, and it's deliberate. They know you click on that, and so they're going to put that in your feed.
Yes.
Or if you're on the internet and you're doing research about something, then all of a sudden ads for that thing starts popping up in Facebook because it's all connected. They know what you're searching for.
Through algorithms, So, and these algorithms are designed to anticipate how you're feeling, what you like, and what you're more likely to click on, like actually your behavior. And that's used for the purposes of trying to sell you something or trying to get you to believe something.
Yeah, the disinformation and propaganda sneaks its way into those algorithms.
So we definitely cannot minimize how powerful it is. But by doing that, we have to understand how we work as human beings, right? And just how powerful our own programming is. And the more conscious that we become of our own programming, then how we begin to be able to utilize critical thinking skills so that we can stay in control of our own selves, regardless of what people are throwing at us intentionally. Not people, but what social media, what these algorithms, because these are algorithms. So yeah, that's how we stay empowered in a really, right now, just crazy divided environment.
Well, thank you so much for that insight, Stephanie. As always, you always have some wise and powerful words to say about how we live and move in the world. And for that, I'm extremely grateful to you.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out now. And yeah, it's just such a, it's like, we just told people to be careful, and then we're also figuring out how to reach out people.
Well, we're trying to balance. We're trying to balance our own media presence because, we're a new business. We're a new nonprofit, and we have to put the word out. But we have to swim through all of this propaganda and disinformation too, because that's really, people are seeing that and they're seeing us. And that's the same for any small business out there. Is people are going to see you and they're going to see the propaganda, and we're swimming through it.
But we do want to say that there are some amazing organizations doing incredible work and utilizing social media in the best ways, right? To connect people and to build community and to raise consciousness around our environment, around our social ills. And so by no means are we we need to focus on those. We need to focus on those organizations.
Well, by saying that, can we lift up Stephanie, one of our own organizing partners, Chatham Organizing for Racial Equity?
Yes, CORE. I love CORE. It's an amazing organization. The executive director is Corinda Roebuck, who is also my dear friend and sister. And we do trainings. We have a healing arm of reconciliation that Michelle Wright is going to be directing. And then I'm the director of organizing. And so we're having a fundraiser right now, a direct donor drive. And we're doing some amazing work here in Chatham, working with our local institutions and our local community to raise awareness around racial equity and to actually begin to collectively come together to make some serious changes. We've done a lot here. But if you go to corenc.org, that's corenc.org, and we're going to have Corinda on the podcast. We should invite her on so she can talk to us and we can talk to y'all about
the work that you guys are doing
the work that we're doing. The WEBB Squared sits as a program inside of CORE when we work here in Chatham County, because we love collaboration and we know that we're stronger together. So I think that's it for our podcast today.
Yeah, I mean, one more thing, thinking about being stronger together, this is a conscious conversation that we have as part of WEBB Squared. And so we want to lift up that you can become a part of the conversation with us. And the way that you could do that is to become a Patreon subscriber, because we hope to have live conversations around our podcast with our subscribers. So please follow the links in the podcast and go to Patreon and become a subscriber today.
All right. Well, until the next time, please remember that the revolution begins with what?
Dialogue.
Thank you, Mashallah.
All right, y'all.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
This has been a joint podcast of WEBB Squared and Afro Future Productions. For those of you interested in learning more about our work at WEBB Squared, you can find out more at webbsquared.org. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. This is our conscious conversation. We hope you will subscribe today on your favorite podcast platform. Join the Remedy Membership Forum on Patreon to join us monthly for our members-only discussion. That's it for today. Until next week, thanks for listening.
What's underneath the situation you don't realize? So let's examine with a critical eye. Put on your glasses and let it magnify the truth that lies hidden under all those lies. Cause everybody has nobility, and if you look beyond what your eyes can see, you'll see they're just like you and me, and now we're giving you the remedy. The remedy.